Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son get together and talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things we enjoy. Today, we have some science fiction to talk about. A book blast episode, meaning spoiler-lite, not going to ruin major plot points for you, on book 7 of The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. So we're talking about Persepolis Rising today. And this book kind of reflects a new step for the Expanse of the series.
Can I say the thing that doesn't spoil this book, but does talk about something that I usually don't like in these books?
Yes, you can, absolutely.
There's a time jump from the last book to this book.
And it's a bit jarring.
It jumps 30 years. I didn't think it was jarring, and maybe this is a wild thought process, but whether because of technology or just the characters themselves or whatever, there is a time jump of 30 years. And while we acknowledge that there is history and further bonds between people, it also doesn't feel like these characters have really changed at all, especially in their capabilities. Like
I disagree a little bit.
They have changed and evolved, but not drastically. Like, they're still the characters we know. They still feel like that. And none of them see... I did a little bit of math and was like, these characters are reaching probably 70.
Yeah, there's definitely different medical abilities at this time.
And they seem at most like their early 50s in the sense of like capabilities.
But their perspectives on life has shifted.
Not too much from the last book to this one, though. Not in any way that doesn't make sense.
I felt with a couple of the guys, things were a little different for them now. I mean, it made sense with the passing of time, but maybe that's just me.
I think, realistically, there is a time jump to allow the world to change, not the characters. The characters don't really change outside of the books, but when we see them in books and between, I think there are bigger changes in character between some of the other books or even future books than there are between the last one and this one. And I think that's almost intentional, where they kept some of the same feel to a lot of the characters, so that as the world is suddenly different and changed, and things change in this book, both things have developed in the last 30 years, and things drastically change during the course of the book, we aren't felt lost and alone. We still have these characters as kind of our homing beacons.
I loved how this book demonstrated something that is so typical of humanity, in that there might be things we could be concerned about, questions about, uncertain about, but if circumstances allow, we're pretty good with just ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And for 30 years, there's been this big unknown question of what happened before that they could be worried about, trying to figure out. Nope, they've just gone along with business, and suddenly, hello, surprise!
Well, and there's, even going beyond that, there's a certain element of like, when you get comfy and feel something, you work with it how it is. And sometimes that means, I had a computer at work for a while that the middle of the keyboard didn't work if I wasn't putting serious pressure on the bottom left corner of the actual computer. And I used it. And it was something I was comfortable with and used for months because that was just how I did it. And it was less of a hassle than having to send it off to IT and have a whole thing go through. But my adapting to something that is broken or not working or dangerous doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's still a problem. And just because I'm working around the problem doesn't mean I've fixed it. And we see that here, and it's a very common human trait of, yeah, there's something wrong here, but we've worked a way around what's wrong. So instead of figuring out what's wrong, we're just going to keep doing the workaround because it works for us. But if someone messes that up, it no longer works for you.
Now, in this book, and it starts out, there's a lot of things that are working well. Things they established 30 years ago that have progressed in the way the solar system is working, the way the greater universe is working, the way they have established how trade can take place, the economy, some stability politically, a lot of things have been going pretty good, and then they don't.
And then they don't. This book then sets up that these final 3 books are really a trilogy.
They are.
It is a trilogy that then also is a capstone to the 9 books. And this one introduces a lot of those elements, and we get a whole new perspective on humanity and how things could develop that is very interesting, but not necessarily something we've seen up to this point.
Now, have you only read the novels? Have you not read the novellas and short stories?
I didn't go into the novellas and short stories. They didn't. Honestly, they didn't pique enough of my interest of like, yeah, I could read more into this world and get more of it, but I just really want the core story.
There's one particular short story, and I think it is just a short story, that you really ought to go back and read, though. And it's Strange Dogs, which informs a lot that happens in this trilogy, including a few of the characters that become significant, and you don't know why they're significant.
About the repair trucks?
And
from the title.
And a couple of children.
Yeah, from the title, I was like, I bet that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But
so that's that. And it was actually Strange Dogs was used in the Expanse's Amazon adaptation. But you don't know why, and it makes no sense in the TV show because they didn't do the final trilogy.
They didn't go on to it. Now, notably, I don't think we actually get anything about that in this book yet.
We just get a little tease, some stuff that's background.
I think that
just that little bit.
Really, I think that's kind of where we have to hold off for this one. Save for, we also get a glimpse, and this is going to sound awful. We get a glimpse at some of the good things that can come out of really, really horrible ethical decisions.
Yeah, I couldn't help but thinking of Nazi Germany.
It really does scream that, and these experimentations on people.
Yeah,
and it's like,
who was it? Mendel? Who was the genetics Nazi scientist that was doing exactly?
I don't know. I'm not honestly not willing to search in my brain to find it because it's not worth it.
Yeah,
but yeah, messed up. Also, a little bit of a blast from the past in terms of our story here, but it's effective.
It's relevant, though. Yeah. All right, great new start to the final trilogy.
Yeah,
though this book, it kind of re-energizes the story again. We're taking pieces from the past, bringing them up again in a way where you want to read more.
And we get a sad but satisfying end to a character.
Oh, yeah. She was awesome.
She was all right.
Oh, wow. Agree to disagree on that one. Okay. That's where we'll leave you on this one. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.